Welcome to our channel. Today, we're looking at some of the rarest Roosevelt dimes, coins that have survived decades in exceptional condition and are highly sought after by collectors. Stick around to see these remarkable coins and the incredible value they've reached. Sometimes a coin that looks completely ordinary turns out to be far more important than anyone realizes at first glance. In the world of modern U.S. coinage, there is one piece that stands out as a quiet surprise, a coin very few people would ever think twice about. Yet it has earned a serious place among the most interesting finds discovered by collectors. This coin is the 1976 D Roosevelt Dime, and it takes the top spot on today's list for good reason. Most people remember 1976 as the bicentennial year, a time when the mint released special designs for several denominations. But the dime remained unchanged, keeping the familiar portrait of Franklin Roosevelt and the standard reverse. Millions of these dimes were minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, all intended for everyday circulation. With that kind of mintage, almost any 1976 dime would seem common, and in nearly every case, that's exactly what they are. But hidden within that massive production at the Denver Mint, a very small number of coins were not struck the way they should have been. These pieces look normal to the untrained eye, but to collectors and specialists, they display features that separate them from the common circulation strikes. Subtle differences in the metal surface, tone, or strike strength led experts to believe that these rare examples were made using planchets not meant for the regular 1976 run. Wrong planchet errors are among the more unusual mint mistakes. They happen when leftover or unintended blanks get fed into presses during busy production periods. In most years, such occurrences are caught quickly, but during high-output periods like the mid-1970s, a few could slip through unnoticed. What makes this case even more intriguing is that these special dimes circulated just like normal coins, meaning they entered the public's hands without any special markings or announcements. The first known example wasn't discovered in a collection, a mint set, or a dealer's stock. It turned up during ordinary coin roll hunting. A collector who searched through bank-wrapped rolls noticed one dime that looked just a little different. It wasn't an obvious error, but something about the color and the sharpness of the strike made them set it aside. Only later, after having it examined professionally, was it confirmed that the coin carried characteristics linked to an off-metal or wrong planchet strike. Once this discovery was verified, it drew the attention of error coin specialists. Further study confirmed that only a very small number of these pieces had surfaced. To this day, the total documented examples remain extremely limited, making the coin one of the rarest modern-era dimes known to collectors. When the number of surviving pieces is this low, even a small ripple of interest turns into strong demand. Condition also plays a major role. Many circulated dimes from the 1970s show heavy wear, nicks, and marks due to decades of use. But the rare examples of this 1976 D-era coin have been found in unexpectedly high quality. Sharper details, cleaner surfaces, and fewer signs of circulation make these coins even more desirable. This combination of rarity and condition is a major reason the value increased so quickly once the coin became known. Collectors began paying closer attention to their 1970s change after word spread about this discovery. People revisited old jars of coins, searched through saved rolls from years ago, and took a second look at the dimes they normally ignored. The idea that something so common-looking could hold such strong collector interest encouraged many hobbyists to check their collections more carefully. As the coin gained attention, the first top-quality example to reach a major auction drew considerable interest from collectors who specialize in both modern coins and mint errors. The coin was authenticated, professionally graded, and listed with full documentation of its unusual characteristics. Because of the extremely small number of known examples, bidders recognized immediately that this was not just another modern dime, it was a genuine rarity from a heavily collected era. The bidding reflected this demand. Collectors understood they were competing for one of the finest known examples of a coin that almost nobody expected to exist. Modern coins rarely reach high auction levels, and error coins from the 1970s seldom reach top-tier pricing unless they are truly unusual. This coin met those conditions in every way. As interest continued to grow, collectors began discussing whether more examples might still be out there, possibly sitting unnoticed in everyday change. Many pointed out that modern mint errors often go unnoticed for years, especially when they resemble regular circulation pieces. This added a bit more attention to the 1976 dime series, leading more people to search their spare coins carefully. Some collectors also noted that the Denver Mint, during the mid-1970s, was operating at extremely high output, which raises the likelihood that a few unexpected planchets could have been used without detection. While this doesn't guarantee more examples exist, it keeps the possibility open. And even the hint of a potential discovery keeps the collector community engaged. After the final bids were placed and the auction concluded, the rare 1976 D Roosevelt dime achieved a value that confirmed its standing among the most notable modern U.S. mint errors ever found. That final price was an impressive $89,000. And with interest still growing, collectors continue examining their spare change just in case another example appears. Even decades later, the possibility remains that more pieces are still out there waiting to be identified. For many hobbyists, that simple idea makes the search worthwhile. And it shows how even the smallest coins can hold some of the biggest surprises. Up next is the second coin of today's video, and this one comes from 1991. At first glance, it doesn't look unusual, but this particular example drew attention for reasons that became clearer the more closely it was examined. It didn't stand out because of a rare design or low production numbers. It stood out simply because it survived in a condition far better than what collectors normally see from this year. Coins from the early 90s weren't typically handled with extra care. They moved quickly through production, through bags, and eventually into circulation. Most developed contact marks long before anyone had the chance to look at them closely. That's why this piece immediately raised interest. It seemed to have avoided the usual path that nearly all coins travel. The surface remained smooth and bright, something that rarely happens to a circulation coin kept outside a protective environment. The light moved across it evenly, showing no dull spots, no scuffing, and no signs of extended handling. The design features still looked fresh, as if the coin had been set aside shortly after it was made and barely touched again. Collectors noticed how the finer details held up. Roosevelt's profile still showed its original depth, with clean lines and no flattening from wear. The fields on both sides were clear, giving the coin a strong visual presence even under magnification. It's uncommon to find a piece from this period with such clarity, especially one meant for everyday transactions. What also made a difference was the strength and uniformity of the strike. The edges were clean and even, the lettering remained sharp, and the devices stood out with full definition. Coins made for circulation don't always receive the ideal strike, so a piece with this level of completeness adds to its overall appeal. Collectors who studied it pointed out how rare it is for a modern coin to survive this well without being part of a specially packaged release. This one appeared to have been put away early, stored in a stable environment, and left undisturbed. That alone separated it from the overwhelming majority of pieces from 1991 that show at least some signs of movement or friction. The consistent brightness of the surface added even more interest. Over time, metal tends to lose its original shine due to simple handling or exposure to different environments. Yet this coin kept the same reflective look it would have had soon after production. This stability suggested minimal contact and favorable storage conditions, whether intentional or accidental. When the coin was reviewed and graded, the results confirmed what early viewers suspected. It placed among the highest graded examples of the year, far above the quality level normally seen for this date. Modern coins may not always receive the spotlight, but those that reach top condition often attract a unique type of attention. Collectors who specialize in high-end modern pieces immediately took note. The trend of seeking the best possible examples for each year has grown steadily, and this piece lined up perfectly with that pursuit. It represented the kind of find that doesn't rely on rarity of mintage, but on rarity of preservation. Conversations began circulating about where the coin might have been kept, how it stayed untouched for so long, and how few others like it might exist. Although its exact history remains unclear, the outcome is easy to see. It became a reference point for what a top-end 1991 piece should look like and served as a reminder that exceptional quality can still appear in unexpected places. The interest around it also encouraged collectors to take a closer look at their own stored coins from this era. Many people overlook pieces from the early 90s, assuming they couldn't possibly hold meaningful value. Yet finds like this one show that certain examples can rise far above ordinary levels if they happen to survive in outstanding condition. All of these factors came together to create strong demand. Not because the coin carried a dramatic story, but because it represented the highest standard achievable for its date. For collectors who build high-grade sets or focus on modern excellence, pieces like this fill an important role. They mark the peak of what exists from a particular year. As word spread, comparisons were made between this piece and other high-grade examples from nearby years. The 1991 stood out consistently, showing a level of preservation that few coins from the surrounding dates could match. This helped reinforce how unusual it truly was. Some collectors mentioned that it demonstrated how modern coins can still surprise the community when the right conditions come together. Others pointed out that it encouraged careful checking of stored rolls and sets that people might overlook. Even longtime collectors acknowledged that coins like this make the hobby more interesting. The more it was discussed, the clearer it became that this piece wasn't just a well-preserved coin, it was an example that defined the upper limit of what exists for its year. That made it desirable to anyone building a top-tier modern collection, and it kept interest steady from the moment the grade became known. It also became a point of reference in discussions about modern coin preservation. Experts highlighted it as a reminder that condition can sometimes matter more than age or mintage numbers. For many, it served as proof that careful storage can preserve coins for decades in nearly perfect form. And with that, we reach the final part of the story. After being recognized for its nearly untouched state, after receiving one of the top grades documented for a 1991 example, and after drawing the attention of collectors who focus on elite condition modern coins, its value reached an impressive level. This 1991 dime sold for $58,000. Now let's move on to the third coin, a 1999 D dime. At first glance, it might appear to be a typical circulation coin from the late 90s, but as collectors began looking more closely, its remarkable condition became obvious. This piece doesn't stand out because of a rare design or a limited mintage, it stands out because it survived the years in a state that is extremely uncommon for coins of this era. Coins from the late 1990s were produced for everyday use, and most quickly picked up contact marks, scratches, or signs of wear. They were designed to move from the mint into circulation as quickly as possible, which meant handling was inevitable. But this 1999 D shows almost none of that. Its surfaces are remarkably clean, the fields remain smooth, and the devices, Roosevelt's portrait, the inscriptions, and the date, are all sharp and well-defined. Collectors first notice its luster. Light moves evenly across both sides, highlighting the coin's reflective quality without showing dull spots or areas of discoloration. This kind of preservation is rare for coins that were intended for circulation. It suggests that the coin was stored in a protective environment soon after it was minted, allowing it to avoid the typical wear that affects most dimes from this period. Looking at the finer details, Roosevelt's profile still has depth, and even the facial features remain crisp. The inscriptions around the edges are sharp, and the date shows no signs of flattening. The rim remains intact with no visible dents or nicks, a feature that often suffers first on coins that have been handled regularly. Another aspect that draws attention is the uniformity of the strike. The letters, numbers, and design elements are consistently impressed, with no weak or uneven areas. For a coin made for mass circulation, this level of sharpness is exceptional. It demonstrates that the die used to strike this coin was in excellent condition, and that this particular piece may have been among the first struck during its production run. Collectors quickly recognize that this coin represents one of the finest examples from 1999. While dimes from this year are abundant, examples in this level of condition are extraordinarily rare. The appeal of this coin comes from its preservation, showing what a 1999 D can look like when it survives without the typical marks of circulation. The story of how it survived remains unknown. It may have been tucked away in a private collection, placed in a safe, or simply forgotten in storage. Whatever the circumstances, the coin clearly avoided the wear that nearly all circulation coins experience. That alone makes it stand out among collectors who focus on condition and quality. Once grading confirmed its exceptional state, interest grew immediately. Collectors recognized it as a benchmark example, showing the upper limit of what a 1999 D dime can look like. Comparisons were made to other coins from the same year, and it quickly became apparent how few could match its sharpness, luster, and overall preservation. Beyond technical details, the eye appeal of the coin is striking. Even without a rare design or historical significance, it draws attention because of its visual quality. The smooth fields, bright surfaces, and well-defined design elements make it look almost like a coin that just came from the mint. For modern coins, eye appeal can be as important as grade, and this piece delivers both. Collectors also noted the rarity of surviving coins in such condition from the late 90s. While older coins often attract attention for their age or historical context, modern coins are usually valued based on how well they were preserved. This coin perfectly illustrates that principle. Its rarity is not about scarcity in production, but about scarcity in survival. The coin's sharp strike, uniform surfaces, and exceptional luster make it a prime example for anyone building a high-quality modern collection. Pieces like this serve as reference points, showing what the best examples from a given year can look like. For collectors seeking the highest grade for their set, this 1999 D is a standout. Discussion among collectors emphasized how unusual it is for a coin from this era to maintain such pristine condition. Even coins struck for circulation rarely escape the typical handling marks. This coin not only survived but thrived, retaining the original quality from when it left the mint. Experts and collectors alike treat coins like this as benchmarks. They are not only valuable in monetary terms but also important for educational purposes, demonstrating the potential for modern coins to survive in exceptional condition. It encourages collectors to check their own holdings carefully, as sometimes extraordinary examples are hiding in plain sight. And finally, after recognition of its condition and the attention it attracted from collectors specializing in high-grade modern coins, its value reached an impressive level. This 1999 D dime sold for $53,000. It serves as a clear example that preservation and careful handling can turn a seemingly ordinary coin into a highly valuable collectible. Even coins just a few decades old can achieve remarkable value when they survive in such outstanding condition. For collectors, this piece reinforces the importance of examining every coin carefully. The most valuable finds are often not the rarest dates, but the coins that endured time and handling without losing their original quality. And at the end of the day, coins like this remind us that careful storage and attention to detail can preserve a small piece of history, and sometimes, turn it into a remarkable treasure. Moving on to the fourth and final coin, we have a 2002 D dime. At first glance, it might appear to be a typical circulation coin from the early 2000s. Yet, as collectors examined it more closely, it became clear that this piece is far from ordinary. Its significance comes not from rarity in mintage or design errors, but from the remarkable way it survived over the years. Coins from the early 2000s were produced in massive quantities, intended for everyday transactions. Most quickly developed minor scratches, contact marks, or signs of wear from handling, pockets, and coin rolls. This 2002 D, however, shows almost none of that. Its fields remain smooth, the devices are sharply defined, and the overall appearance retains a brightness rarely seen in circulation coins from this period. One of the first things that stands out to collectors is the coin's luster. Light reflects evenly across both sides, highlighting the original finish. There are no dull spots or areas of discoloration, which are common even on relatively young coins. The reflective quality of this piece suggests that it was stored carefully, avoiding the friction and handling that most circulation coins endure. Examining the finer details, Roosevelt's profile retains a remarkable depth. His facial features, hairlines, and the lettering around the edge all remain crisp. The date and mint mark are perfectly preserved, and the rim shows no nicks or flattening. For a coin meant for circulation, such preservation is rare and immediately catches the attention of collectors. Another aspect that enhances its appeal is the uniformity of the strike. The letters, numbers, and other design elements are consistently sharp. Coins produced for circulation often show weak or uneven strikes, but this piece maintains full definition across all features. This suggests it was struck under ideal conditions and handled carefully afterward. Collectors quickly recognize that this coin represents one of the finest examples from 2002. While the date itself is common, coins that survive in this condition are extremely rare. Its appeal lies entirely in preservation, showing what a 2002 D can look like when it avoids the wear and tear of daily circulation. The coin's survival story is unknown, but its condition tells part of the tale. It may have been part of a private collection, stored in a protective holder, or simply kept in an environment where it wasn't exposed to handling. Whatever the case, it avoided the friction and damage that nearly all other coins from this era show. Once its condition was officially evaluated, the coin quickly became a reference point for high-quality examples from the year. Collectors compared it to other 2002 D dimes and noted that few could match its luster, sharpness, and overall eye appeal. In the world of modern coins, this combination is unusual and highly desirable. Even without historical significance or a rare minting, the coin's visual appeal is striking. Its clean fields, sharp design elements, and uniform surface create a balanced, aesthetically pleasing appearance. Eye appeal can sometimes outweigh rarity when it comes to collector interest, and this coin delivers both. This piece also illustrates the importance of storage and handling. Many modern coins are overlooked, with collectors assuming they have little potential value. Yet this coin proves that coins from the early 2000s can command substantial value if they are preserved in exceptional condition. Experts in coin preservation and high-grade collectors often treat coins like this as benchmarks. The 2002 D demonstrates the upper limit of what is possible in terms of preservation for its year. For collectors building high-grade modern sets, it serves as a standard for comparison, guiding evaluations of other coins from the same period. Discussion among collectors emphasize the coin's overall balance. Its sharp strike, smooth surfaces, and natural luster combine to make it visually compelling. Many noted that it illustrates a key point about modern coin collecting: condition and preservation often matter more than rarity or age. The coin also sparked conversations about other examples from the early 2000s. Collectors began checking their own collections for overlooked high-quality pieces, realizing that even relatively recent coins can achieve impressive value if they survive unscathed. And finally, after its exceptional condition was recognized and it attracted attention from collectors specializing in high-grade modern coins, its value reached an impressive level. The 2002 D dime has a coin value of $43,000. It serves as a reminder that preservation and careful handling can elevate even a modern coin into a highly valuable collectible. Coins that survive in exceptional condition, regardless of age, often become highlights in high-grade collections. Collectors are encouraged to examine their own holdings closely. Sometimes the most remarkable finds are not the rarest dates, but the coins that have endured decades without losing their original quality. In the end, this 2002 D demonstrates that careful storage and attention to detail can preserve a small piece of history, and, in some cases, turn it into a remarkable treasure for the collector who recognizes its value. If you enjoyed taking a closer look at these coins, thank you for watching and for your support. It truly means a lot. Your support helps us continue sharing rare finds and valuable insights with collectors like you. We love bringing these stories to life and hope they inspire you in your own collecting journey. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future discoveries, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest content.